At the start of this year, Vidyamala established a pilot project in Manchester to help people manage experiences of chronic illness and pain. She runs the workshops with her assistant, Jan Burns, with funding from the Millennium Commission.
I first injured my spine when I was 16 in lifting someone out of a swimming pool. I had some unsuccessful surgery. I had a car accident 5 years later. So I was left with a very bad back in my early 20s. And then when I was 25, I ground to a complete halt. And that was the point where I decided I needed to take myself in hand and try to find ways of dealing with it. I have had a bit of a dream of somehow working with other people who experience pain and illness based on my own experience. And it's taken me 15 years between then and now to feel ready in myself.
Back of the legs.
The course itself is in a way quite simple, what we do, and it all hangs off the central principle of mindfulness. So that's the core thread that runs through everything. Within that we start off with the body scan, which is where people lie down on the floor, including myself. And basically I just talk people through different parts of the body so they can bring their awareness to those different places and just learn to be in their body, actually. Because if you've got a body that's uncomfortable, it's not a very easy body to reside in. There's two key things that we bang on about on the course. One is living in the moment, that you ever only experience your pain one moment at a time, which is revolutionary to people, because often people's upset is, oh God, I'm going to have this forever, you know, I can't bear it, I've had it forever. Well, that's all fictional, that's all just mind created. You just got it in the moment. And the other thing is a phrase, respond, don't react. So you've got a sensation that is unpleasant, finding a creative response rather than just a knee-jerk reaction and sort of ricocheting through life, bouncing from one reaction to another. And that, I mean, that's totally revolutionary. Extremely positive, and it helps people feel really in control of their lives and their minds. We do a whole component in what we call pacing, which is, if you like, mindfulness in everyday life, mindfulness of energy usage. A lot of people with chronic pain and illness have what's called a boom or bust attitude to life, so that when you feel good, you really go for it. And then you fall over and have a week in bed afterwards. So pacing is just recognising that and trying to learn how to be more paced in one's daily life. Now, one of the things which I found surprising and fascinating is people's response to the Metaboner. You see, I can get away with saying some quite strong things because I'm sitting in a wheelchair in the same boat as them. And so when I teach the Metaboner, I always start off by saying, you really need it. If you're in pain, you need the Metaboner. And that's because pain, by its nature, tends to make one withdrawn, introverted, self-preoccupied, miserable, and often self-pitying. You see, I say all this, and they all go, yes. And then I say, and if you do this practice, you can change all that. You can learn to stop being so overly concerned with self and think about other people for a change, and they all go, yes. And you can turn your pain into a moment of empathy rather than a prison, because the way I teach the Metaboner is very much on the basis of common humanity, trying to find what we've got in common with all people out there in the world. And one of the threads that we've got in common is that we all suffer in one way or another. One of the great strengths this year is that I'm teaching very much from experience, and that's what people respond to, that's what people respect. It's quite obvious. But I'm very limited physically in what I can do. I'm pretty much operating at about the right level, doing one class a week and one drop-in class a week. But Jan Burns, who's been working with me this year, is training up, and it's also becoming increasingly obvious that people are really respecting Jan, who doesn't have physical pain herself. In January, I got phoned up by a journalist from a local newspaper who said she wanted to do a piece on it because she'd heard about it, because she did a little column. We got something like 50 phone calls in about 3 days on the basis of that, which meant that our courses were booked up till July, and we're now in a situation where we've got no more places on any courses for the rest of the year.